Welcome to The Right Connection, the show where we bring singles together for a unique blind dating experience. I'm your host, Marcus Hart, and this is my wife,
Kia Hart.
We're excited to have you join us.
Here on The Right Connection, we take a different approach by setting up blind dates between individuals we believe could be a perfect match. Get ready to witness the excitement, the surprises, and the genuine moments as two strangers take a chance on love. This is The Right Connection. Welcome to The Right Connection 1 month check-in. I'm your host, Kia Hart, and this is my husband, Marcus Hart, and we're here to follow up with the couples who matched on our season and to find out how life has been 1 month after the show. In this case, it's been several months after they filmed their show. So today we're here with Wenchell and Joy. Hey, guys.
Hey, y'all.
What it do?
How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
Doing really well.
Awesome. So we're going to start with Joy. How was your experience on the show? What are some things that you loved about being on the show? Some things that you learned?
Yeah, so I would say overall, my experience being on the show, it was definitely a bold move, I would say. And it's funny because my friend had a praise and worship event in North Carolina. And this lady comes up to me. She's like, "You look so familiar. You look like a woman I saw on YouTube on a dating show." And I was like, "Girl, that was me." And she told me that it was just so encouraging. And it's funny because I've run into people where that has been the case. Um, it was one of those things where I realized like it was an experience that I think needed to happen. It wasn't just for me, but I think for other Christian women to feel like it is okay and it's not sinful to put yourself out there. What I did not like was waiting. I'm the type of person where I just like and need to know everything. I need to know who this person is, what this person does, this person's age, and all the things. So it forced me to kind of sit and wait, which was very uncomfortable. Here, you knew I was texting you every other day. I wanted to do every day, but I was like, "You're a mom and a wife." And I forgot what your other question was. Like, what did I learn?
Yeah, what did you learn?
Yeah. I think one thing I learned that is so important is to stand on your own personal business. Like, if you know who you are and how you function and what makes you feel secured or safe, there's certain things you just don't do in the name of Jesus. And I think in the Christian community, we do things a lot in the name of Jesus as it relates to dating. And it definitely reiterated to me the importance of really just owning my voice and owning my standards and what I want and what I don't.
What about you, Winchell? How was your experience on the show?
It was great. Honestly, it was a great experience. I think even up until the actual filming of the show, it put me in a position of preparation of, lining things in my life, making sure that everything was set in the event of, the connection. So I love the experience. I love everything about it. And I think it is something that people should definitely try and come out of their comfort zone to do if they are bold enough, as Joyce says, bold enough to do. I would say that when it comes to what I learned about the show through the show is that just being a believer is not enough. I learned that there's you have two people who have lived two completely separate lives who've experienced so many different pathways in life which shaped and framed who they ultimately become, even as believers, and I think that it shows us that there's always work to be done, not only externally but also internally within ourselves, and that with that work being done, it'll put us in alignment with the people that we need to actually be around. And that's one of the things that I learned, especially with the show, is that, yes, we all love Jesus. We all can come into a worship session. We can cry, we can pray, we can do all of that stuff. But then once you leave the throne room of God, then what? Right? You still have to deal with you as the individual. And I think that even in the dating aspect, I think sometimes, and I'm not saying just for our situation, like I'm speaking in general, where I've learned that sometimes we can definitely over spiritualize things and not really deal with the nitty gritty of what's necessary in order for a relationship to thrive. You get what I'm saying? Like, yes, we can pray, yes, we can do all of that stuff, but you still have to deal with you. You take you wherever you go, so you still have to deal with you. So
Nice. Thank you for that. Okay. Let's get into it.
All right. So this is the question everybody has been waiting to know. So you guys matched. There was a lot of chemistry on the show. Was there anything else that happened after the fact? Did you all go out on a date? Did you, exchange numbers? And we'll let Winchell go first.
it's always ladies first. So yes, so we did. We ended up going out on an impromptu date immediately right after the show. We found us a nice Caribbean restaurant, a Caribbean fusion restaurant that we went and we ate at, and it was amazing. We really got a chance to kind of get to know each other, ask questions, and kind of dive into our personalities and our characters, and everything was great. We believed in a lot of the same things. We valued a lot of the same things when it comes to our faith, when it comes to family, and even some of the things we've experienced in life. Some of the traumas that we've experienced. We definitely empathize with each other with some of the things that we went through. So yes, we did exchange numbers, and we talked. We were very consistent when it came to communication. I think that with the distance of me living in Zimbabwe and her living way in Brooklyn, in New York, I think it kind of played a factor into it as well. I think it does take a special type of individuals to really make those long distance relationships work. But I think we're like hands-on type individuals where I think things are easier to handle and deal with when it's like a face-to-face conversation and actually like dealing with things head on, especially with the space that we had in between us. But yes, to answer the question, we did go out on a date. Date was amazing. We did exchange numbers and we talked pretty consistently.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Joy, you have anything else to add on?
Yeah,
From your
Or yeah,
from my perspective. So yeah, we ended up going out, went to a Haitian restaurant. The food was good. Food was good. I love Haitian
what
food.
did y'all have to eat?
I had black rice and chicken, and I think I had plantain.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even finish the whole thing. It was good though. It was good, like you mentioned. We did have a lot in common. Um, my perspective, and also I'm very mindful of just being very open and transparent. I think there was like the sharing of things. There was a little bit oversharing. And those are the things that I never addressed it just because I tend to sit back and just observe. And I've learned, to give people a level of grace, right? I would say the distance was never an issue for me. I think I was very clear going on prior to being on the show that you make time for what you want to make time for, right? So while I'm working my 9 to 5, I have my business, I have speaking engagements, I'm prepping and all the things, I'm rebranding, I'm doing all the things, but I make time, right? Like I think for me, it was never a factor of it being in person. I think it's a factor of being with somebody that is not saying that they're ready, but they're actually in position. I think thinking you're ready and being in position are just two different things for me. So while the conversation was great, I will say post show, I would say that Sunday when I got back to New York, it was like it was different, right? Like if we're being really honest and very open, especially for people who it's been 400 comments, right, on the video, and this young woman that I've mentored from the age of 17, and she's like in her early 20s saw it. And she was one of the main ones to comment, and I'm like, Aretha, girl, it's like I gotta teach you. But one thing I will say that it went sour for me on that Sunday. So we matched on Saturday. Actually, it was the very next day, right? I think to call a spade, and me owning my truth is that when we had the conversation and sharing our values, I shared a personal value of mine pertaining to my hair. Me cutting my hair, me loving being bald, me feeling the most beautiful, especially living in New York. It's just a vibe, right? Like if you know me personally, you know my style, I know I wear my balding very well. So if I shared that and then very next day I am met with a question regarding would I change my hair for you, was when I immediately shut down. The walls were up. At that moment, I'm in a position where I'm like, and I pardon the background. I think that might be an issue on my laptop, but I'm in a position now where I'm like, I'm not focused solely on what you say in the name of Jesus. I'm focused now on character. I had to take a step back and really ask myself, girl, is this even someone you want to be with or deal with? And I think it's one of those things where if it was any other man I met on the street that said that, I would never give this person a day, like another chance. So I think for me, after that, I kind of was like, I don't know, but let me just watch and see. And I watched and I saw and I made the decision like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work, as we had the conversation with Winchell. But one thing I regret was not cutting that off the next day. I think in that moment, there's a difference when you celebrate someone, embrace them, and tolerating something. And if somebody tells you something feels good about themselves and makes them feel loved and beautiful and secure, and you ask them to change it, at that mode, your mind, as a woman, you should be thinking, this man is tolerating you. This person isn't embracing you. So in that moment, I should have known, like, girl, in the name of Jesus, you got to cut it off. All right. I held on a little bit too long when I should have immediately the next day had let it go.
Okay. Before Winchell responds, so from the day that this conversation happened regarding hair and to the cutoff time, how far or short was that?
The conversation when we had lunch was when I shared the photos of myself with the hair.
Okay.
I was like, okay, this is me with the hair, and then this is me without it, and I love it. And then flying back out to New York the next day it was literally within a span of 24 hours when you really think about it, or less than 24 hours. And that's just, and it's not me to make him a villain or anything like that. I think it's one of those things where when I said one of the things I learned is to stand on your truth, that there are certain requirements that it doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter accolades, it doesn't matter the with the person's faith in Christ, what position they hold. There's just certain things as a woman you just don't deal with. And I think for me, one of the things that my prayers to the Lord has been, God, don't ever put me in a position where I am going to be that woman in many of these Christian podcasts when the man is like, yeah, I really didn't want her. But I didn't want that, right? So yeah.
So you guys from that Sunday, you have never spoke again?
No, we actually did speak. So from there it was all of us we had the round table conversation, we talked it through, and I know that in that moment the ball was in my court to make a decision on if something I wanted to carry on. And of course, like, not to villainize Winchell. I think Winchell is an amazing man, and I appreciate his apology, and I of course accepted it. And so I made the decision, like, okay, let me continue to see. But he can attest and say that he probably still felt like there was a wall up, right? I think in that moment when you don't know anyone and there's no history there's certain things that is said or done which makes it difficult. So after that, we actually continued to speak. We spoke on the phone, we FaceTimed and all the things. And so what was that? Was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I don't know. I forgot. It was 2 weeks, maybe 2.5. I don't know, but I'm going to say 2 weeks. And then there was just certain things that, he shared, which I'm not going to share. I think it's up to him if he wants to share, that I realized, like, yeah, this is even more of a reason for me not, to kind of pull away. And I gave him the word of advice on, just focusing on himself, like not really be dating. And it's not me policing anybody, but the advice I gave him was advice I would give to my two younger brothers. If what was shared with me was something that they shared to a woman, I would say you have no business dating. And I think, Winchell, you don't know this, but even it was 2 days after we had the conversation and I shared with you that I no longer wanted to continue this, I'm on the social media streets, right? So I see a thing on Threads and a woman is like, she's playing matchmaker. And she tells people to drop their picture. After I said, I really think you should focus on yourself, because what you share with me, there's no room or space that you should, and priorities, I think as a man, an older man, should be focused on certain things before bringing a woman into it when you haven't had that cadence. And so you drop your picture of somebody's playing matchmaker and you dropped your photo. In my head, I looked at it And I wasn't mad. I was like, God, thank you. To me, it was, I already had the confirmation I needed. But I think in that moment, I was like, there is nothing that I missed from this. I'm not doing the most. I'm not overthinking. It was just one of those things where it made me feel like people will want something and they'll get it any way that they can. And the way I looked at it was like, you know what? I'm good. So, yeah.
Okay. Winchell, the floor is yours.
No, yeah. So to bring a little bit of clarity, so after we had the conversation, when we rode to the restaurant and we were driving, one of the things, I'm a type of person who says, like, if I like, I mean what I say and I say what I mean, right? And one of the things that I asked her is that I said, what is it, the one thing that I can give to you? And she said, full transparency, right? So when she said that, in my mind, I said, okay, that means that we don't have any walls up. We don't have any guards up. We can actually talk. We can communicate. We can be free to speak, and things like that. And mind you, this is a person I've only met within just one day. I don't know the history behind things. And even if she implied of, her feeling the most beautiful when she cut her hair, I would have never known the severity or the dynamic of how big it is to her because I don't know her. I don't know how big things are. I don't know how small it is. I don't know. And one of the things that we addressed when I asked her, when she showed me pictures of her, she showed me pictures of her without hair, with hair, the different styles that she went through. And then I said, would you ever grow your hair out for me? And then I know that's when everything just went left. And again, one of the things that I was troubled with is the fact is like, I don't know you, I'm just getting to know you. So if I said something that was off-putting to you, I think right then and there should have been like grace to say, well, this guy doesn't know me and knows the history behind what got me to this place. What I tried to do is I was like, okay, I see that this is an issue, but let me try. So even before she had a chance to address it, I had already felt in my spirit there was something off, there was something wrong because I saw how she got off the phone. So before she even addressed something, I said, hey, if I said something to you, if my comment was off-putting, I'm terribly sorry. I apologize. It is not something that I meant to, demean you or not understand. It was that this is like in my culture, and I think it's also cultural things. I grew up greasing scalps. I grew up greasing my grandmother's scalp, my mother's scalp, my aunties, and these are things that we take pleasure in, especially in the Haitian community. We take care of the women that we date. So this is something I typically kind of look forward to in relationships, but it's not like something where it has to happen. It's just something I'm putting out there. But again, it was just casual conversation because we were in a place to where we could be open to talk and be freely. And she said that I overshared. So again, I had a misunderstanding of what open transparency looked like because I asked, what is it that you want? And you said transparency. So for me, it translated, I can talk freely. I can go and just, we can just talk freely because I think leading up until the show, I did decide that, okay, I'm getting all of my ducks in a row and this is not going to be the typical type of, I meet you, I got to wait 6 months to see if you're even a good person, or I got to wait 3 months to see. From the way they talked about Joy, it's like, no, she's it. You don't have to go through the preliminaries of stuff. She's it. So for me, I took all of that into account and say, okay, whoever this individual is that I'm getting ready to meet, this is it. I'm going to focus on this person, and whatever comes with it, whether good, whether bad, whether indifferent, I'm just going to deal with it. You know what I mean? And I think that from that Sunday, there was a shift, right? So literally within 24 hours, I mean, the day before was great. Within 24 hours, there was the shift. And then I felt like it was almost like I had to be performative, right? It's like I felt like I had to keep trying to convince her that I'm still a good option. And then at that point, I was like, okay, that's why when we had the meeting and we talked about it, the ball was in her court. And, she decided. And one of the things I shared with her is I said that the Lord is putting me in a season of isolation, but it's my fault because I never clarified what that meant. What it meant was I was being isolated from past dealings with people in like friendships. an association so I could focus on kingdom, so I could focus on a wife, so I could focus on the things that is important, because it is my desire to preach and teach. It is my desire, but I don't feel like I'm good enough unless I have a wife next to me. And I know that's not God, that's not God. But for me, that is my desire, to have a wife next to me while I preach and teach, so that way I can focus on my family. And I don't know if she misinterpreted what I meant, like I need to be isolated from everybody. But no, I have my personal relationship with God, and it was the people that I still allowed around me who were not looking for my best interest spiritually. So I had to isolate from them. So it's to the place to where I don't have friends like I used to. I don't hang around the people I hang around anymore. It's just me. It's my daughter, and it's just ministry, and that's really it. But my heart's desire is to meet someone. My heart's desire is to be married, and those are the things that I'm very intentional about, and those are the things that I'm gonna go after. And when Joy called me, here's the crazy part, right? The day before Joy called me, like my spirit was troubled, and I prayed about it. I did. I prayed about it. I said, Lord, listen. I said, you see the situation, you see where it's going. I said, ultimately, I want your will to be done. If it is your will for us to continue, let it continue. And I said these specific words. I said, Lord, I don't have the heart to cut it off with her, but if you don't want this to continue, let her do it. And I kid you not, the very next day she called me and she did it. She said, this is what I feel in my spirit. So ultimately, I felt like the prayer was answered. Um, and I still said it even when Marcus would reach out. I said, I still think Joy is a dope individual. I think she's amazing. I think with everything that she stands for, I think she's an amazing woman. I think she's a beautiful woman. Her hair had nothing to do with her beauty or her value.
I do want to, before you continue, because I know someone will probably ask in the comments, so this is for them. What made or what prompted you to ask the question about her hair?
Um, Based on what I said before, it's just something that in my culture, we love grease and scalps, right? So I asked, would you ever grow your hair out for me? I never said I didn't like your bald head. I never said it wasn't attractive to me. I never said that. All I said was, would you consider growing your hair out for me? Right? That's it. Never said she wasn't attractive or anything, because I think she's beautiful. I really do. And I think that when she took it and said that there's a truth behind it, because that's not what she wants. And again, men and women process differently. This is where grace is needed when it comes to the dealings between men and women. Is that no? It doesn't matter. I've dated women who didn't have hair before. It's not an issue for me. I was just thinking that based on a love language that I like to exhibit and things like that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joy.
I have a comment. So if you like scalp, I'm all scalp. You know what I mean? And I think here's the thing I think it's important to keep in mind. And I think this is where things can get very tricky within dating. And sometimes we can gaslight someone and not realize we do it. So that Saturday we had lunch. That's when I showed you pictures of the hair. That's when I emphasized verbally me being bald makes me feel the most beautiful. I feel amazing. That's very clear that I like the way I look with my hair type that I chose to do. So anyone that tells you to change something that you personally have celebrated and they can't understand, oh, you got to, like you have to get over it. As a woman, I'm thinking to myself, this ain't going to be it. This is not going to be something where I would feel like I would feel safe. I would feel beautiful around this person. I feel like I can thrive. And that's the only regret I had was holding on a little bit longer instead of in that moment. I've gone to places and maybe it's different in Florida, but in New York, even if a man is not used to dating a woman that's bald, when he meets her bald, if he likes what he sees, he's gonna be like, listen, I don't usually date bald women, but you rocking it. He's not gonna ask her to grow or anything like that, because what you see is what you get. When you start being so quick to change the physicalities of someone, because I could have said some things physical as well, but I didn't, because I knew that I don't know you, right? And for me, and I think one thing I'm very big on is like reading the room, a level of emotional intelligence. So if I meet someone, of course, that person's looking at me like I may not be that person's physical type. I may not be a certain like even a physical size for that person, right? But there's certain things, but if I tell this person like, yo, I love my body, and they're like, well, would you ever get surgery the next day? At that moment, as a woman, in any dating relationship, and one thing my mentee will tell you, if she told me a man told her to do that with her hair or her body, after she has verbally communicated, like, hey, this is who I am, I love myself, it took a long time, I would tell her, girl, cut it off. It's different if I never shared, hey, yeah, I cut my hair. It is what it is, right? And I think that's the part where I realize I think when it has to be a circle, when you have to have conversations to convince a person like this is what it is, and they're still not grasping it, that's when it's to me, with anyone dating, it's a clear sign that that's not it and to be okay with that. And I think sometimes, if we're going to be honest, some people are too desperate and will try to force to make it work. No. And it's not that I took it as me thinking, oh my gosh, he thinks I'm ugly. No, I know I'm a beautiful woman, right? That was never something I questioned. I just know that I want a man to embrace me, not to tolerate me. And as much as you would want to not add the verbiage to it or what it's not, that's what it was. So on a Saturday, I shared my love and view of how I felt as a woman, right? As a Black woman, it's different. Our experiences are different. For us to get to a point to love ourselves where we're not typically like put on display as beautiful, and then the very next day for somebody to tell you to change something to fit their personal desires, in my head I'm like, oh, you kind of told on yourself, right? Like, even in the show, I watched the recording, the first thing you thought I was it was a Hispanic woman with long hair. And that's okay. I just would have wanted you to just, own it. And it's fine. But I would say in my dating experiences, I have any man I've ever seriously dated or liked, this was never a conversation. If anything, I've dated bald men who've asked me if I was okay with them being bald. And I'm like, do you see me? So I think it's one of those things like, again, I don't think you're a bad person, but I think in my truth and what I will tell any woman, and you have a daughter, so you understand, there's just certain things you want to be with somebody that's going to embrace you. Tolerating is when somebody knows something makes you feel good and they still ask you to change something to appease their need. And that isn't something that I think in the early stage, even though somebody's sharing like all these great things about me, I think it was very clear that it was saying like, the purpose is for us to continue to get to know each other. This wasn't an arranged marriage show. This wasn't an agreement where we signed the lines and said that we're going to be in a relationship. So I think that's where we had a misalignment. You thought, okay, we're good, we're locked in. And in my head, I'm like, wait, no, no, no. I don't know you. I need to know you. And for me, it's about consistency and communication and all the things.
Okay. That's a great point. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that is even from a guy's perspective, looking on the outside in. I was raised by a Black woman that advocated for other Black women, and she loves Sanaa Lathan, and I believe it was two movies that she had. One where she dated a Caucasian man, and that was a part of the movie where she was like, I think she had maybe like a perm or something, and the Caucasian guy, he was like, rock your natural, and she loved that. She loved that aspect of her life, and again, I get it. Winchell, I understand, but if a sister voices how confident and how much she loves that state in her life, that's your moment to capitalize. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's life. We live and we learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Oh,
There
there
you
you go. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So from here, afterwards, we just talked about the process from date to the end of things. There was a lot, as you said, 400 comments, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. Not sure if you both had a chance to view all the comments. You haven't, Winchell?
I haven't gone back to the video.
Okay.
Once me and her like stopped communicating, I haven't gone back to the video, but I've been just like her I've been approached. I have people as far west as California, um, California, Texas, people back home in Jersey, Miami, telling me, "Hey, I saw you on this. You popped up on my algorithm." I've I've had women say, "Oh my gosh, I hope you enjoy the kid," and I'm like, yeah, sure. But if I may, I just okay. This is the thing that I want to get to understanding. Um, I completely understand what Joy is saying, right? The only thing that I would say is Joy can't speak for me. She cannot speak for me on how I feel on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
She cannot speak for me on how I process and my thought process and how it is. Um, I won't understand a person's severity on anything in one day. You could tell it to me one time that I'm not going to grasp it, right? My learning style is different. Even in personally, my learning style is you may have to tell it to me 2 or 3 times before it actually clicks.
Mm-hmm.
That's my learning style. And I deal with that even in professional. Like when I go into a corporate setting, right? And they ask me like certain things, I say, listen, it's I do you that's my teaching style. Like you have to show me, I have to see it for me to grasp it. So I think that because she was in a different place of how she processes things, she automatically made a decision when that's not where my mind or my heart was. Right? She made it about attraction and tolerance. And it had nothing to do with that. It had absolutely nothing because let's just say if it didn't take place, if the situation didn't where she didn't receive it the way that she received it,
Mm-hmm.
we probably still would have been communicating. I probably would have been out to a matter of fact, I've already been out to New York a couple of times already, and I would have been seeing Joy. It would have been something different. But I don't want it to be where a decision was made for me as if I said it because that's not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I said it because it was something that I was just used to culturally. That's
Yeah, and I feel like that's exactly what she's saying. She's not. She hears what you're saying, but she had to make a decision for her based off of her mindset and her standards. So as a guy, again, I get it. She'll tell me something, and I'll pick up on it completely different.
But there's also a thing of just social awareness.
And yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Especially because you guys don't know each other.
Yeah, I was gonna get to
some
that.
things aren't. I won't say certain things on our first date because we're not there yet. You
Right.
know what I mean? I think it may have came across differently. Joy, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe if you said it 3 months down the line and you guys were super tight in communicating, she would probably like raise the eyebrow. She probably wouldn't have said yes, but she probably would have raised the eyebrow to I'll consider it.
Yeah.
But to say it on a first date,
or not even I'll consider it, but
just thinking about it.
There's levels to intimacy. You know what I mean? And again, if she came to you with anything, I don't know.
Because I'm different. The thing is, everything you're saying, let's reverse the roles, right? Let's just reverse it. Um, I'm a progressive processor, right? That's how I progressively process things. From the time we sat in the car and I asked, "What is it that you would like from me?" She said 100% transparency.
Right.
In my mind, I processed it that we are at a place to where we can have 100% transparency.
Right.
I didn't process that now we have to add social awareness. We have to add a recognition. We have to add all of these things to get to this place for me, because now if I asked for it, what comes with it, I asked you for. I asked.
I do want to
I'm
say.
sorry, can I just interject really quickly? And I understand where you're coming from, Winchell. I also work in corporate spaces as well and deal with a lot of our Fortune 500 companies. And in any of those spaces, they say show up as your best self, right? Be transparent. But what she's saying is when social awareness is still a thing, unless there's a relationship being built, right? Trust has to be built. When you manage a team, the way you may be transparent to one person is going to look different based off of trust that's built over time. It's like for women, one of the things we deal with, our bodies change. So I may be really bloated, right? Or somebody may have fibroids, and that makes them look like they're pregnant. You're not, no matter, unless you have a tight relationship, you are not going to dare ask that person, right? Or in a church setting, perfect example. One thing my former pastor said, people are so quick to want to correct someone or tell somebody about themselves when they haven't taken the time to build a relationship, right? And so, yes, I wanted you to be transparent, but here's the thing. I think the grace would have been activated even more, where I agree we would have been talking if I never shared with you about how passionate I am about something that I've grown to love about myself. And I think that's the part that is missing. If someone overly emphasizes something that they love and adore, and the minute they are hit with the change that for them, it's a different thing. And I don't want us to overlook that piece, because it's something that I know is very verbally clear. And I don't want us to go back and forth on it. But I think for any woman, right? Like when somebody tells you something and you stand behind it and you're passionate about it, and you are praising a place of celebration of what makes you you, and somebody tells you to change that, no matter what the intentions are, it will have its damaging effects if there's not a relationship in place. I think people who work in the mental health space can all agree and say that. So while you may not feel like that was you tolerating, the person who is a victim can say, while I understand that that may not have been your intentions, but this is how I'm receiving it. And because there's no relationship and trust built, I don't even know, like I was turned off essentially, right? And in a marriage for you guys it's different because it's time, it's time, right? So when I'm in a relationship with anyone, yes, like there's certain things we're going to say and do we're not going to like, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, social awareness, at least for me, and I'm not saying, and I apologize if you felt like I'm trying to tell you how to process, because that's not it. I'm just sharing from my perspective on, if I tell anyone I love something, it's like I tell somebody, yo, I love being a speaker. I love coaching. I actually love being an author. And I praise that part of myself. And I meet a man that tells me, would you stop coaching? Would you stop speaking? Would you stop writing books for me because I want your time? That's not the right fit for me, because this is who I am, right? I shared with you a part of me that I love. It's like me telling a guy, with me not having children, if a man tells me how much he loves his child, and if I'm like, I don't really want to date a man with kids. If I tell this man, well, would you mind putting distance between you and the child? For me, he's going to look at me like I'm crazy. I would never do that, because anything you like, I'm going to love it. And if anything that you tell me you find joy in, my role as a woman is to better help you support that and make sure you grow in that. So again, it's like, and culturally as a Nigerian, this isn't something that's even celebrated. So for me, it's even more of a huge movement for myself as a Nigerian woman without having the hair and all the things. And so to meet someone that would have me and I get it, like, but to ask me to change something, ultimately it turned me off. And that is the wall. I don't know you. We only met up for a certain period of time. The purpose of dating is to see if this person is the right fit. And is this person I want to be friends with? It's like me going out to an event and I meet someone. If they speak to me the same way that somebody who's known me for 3 years speaks to me, that's a problem. It should never be that. So that's just my thing. And I think, to your point, like we tried it and it didn't work. And I think that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, it's a learning curve for everyone. Like this is a total new experience. Most people aren't blind dating, coming on a show, and then just like placed in this position to just, date and figure it out right after that. Like usually you have some sort of like background and, at least like you're able to like develop through conversations. I think it's a learning curve. And
Yeah, and it's something too that I want to
yeah,
mention just for our family of viewers, this is a dating show, guys. We'd love for every single contestant to be married, get married, but God has a perfect will for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And God also gives everyone free will. If it don't happen, it don't happen. We may see the potential of it happening, but at the very end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it's okay.
Yeah.
The what you hear in everyone's testimony, listen to those things, learn from what the contestants are saying. There's so many other dynamics that we can get out of the show, and not just, oh, they're a bad match or they should have been. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's life. Things happen.
Right.
So, yeah.
But to transition to the comments aspect of things, there was a couple comments that stood out. The first one is, he knows how to help companies grow, but he hasn't learned to make a profit for himself in the process. That was directed to Wenchell. So do you want to talk more about your thought process when you shared during your date?
Yeah, so that was one of the things of being afraid of stepping out into entrepreneurship because as a single dad, always want something guaranteed. You can't, it's not easy to take a risk when you got somebody who's depending on you. You need insurance. Something happens, it falls on you. And I didn't have, there was no support system of people that I can, like, if something falls, and as a dad, and I think even as many single fathers, like, people don't understand the pressures of having to make sure that you never, like, you can't waver. I can't go out and apply for food stamps. I can't go out and apply for public housing. I can't go out and apply for all of these things that are available that are not available to single dads. Like, even when I tried to go back to school, like when I had got laid off, and I looked at, there were about 212 programs for single mothers to go back to school. There were zero for fathers.
Wow.
Right? There was zero. So I think that people have to understand that we don't walk the same path. We don't live the same life. And we don't have the same support or family that most people can look at and say, that's why one of the things that I get so frustrated at is people who are super spiritual who can't understand babes in Christ. Like, that irks me because it's the spirit of a Pharisee. Like, you've gained all of this knowledge, this privilege, this opportunity. And when someone doesn't measure up to the same that you've had, all of a sudden, oh, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, did you see what they had to go through? Did you see the pathway that they had to take to get to where they're at? And everybody's path is going to be different. So one of the things, well, I will say that being that my daughter's getting relieved, I finally started the company. I finally started the company. So,
Congratulations.
That's what's up, man. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So the dynamic of making sure my daughter was okay, and people they don't have to understand, and it's okay. But as a dad, my kid has to come first. I got to make sure she's straight and everything that she does before I start living for me. And now she leaves in less than 3 weeks.
Wow.
And she's getting ready to venture and probably make more money than me, but that's okay. But that's what I want. I wanted her to excel. I wanted her to succeed, and it makes the sacrifices worth it. You get what I'm saying? And now I can take the risks and stuff for myself and really go out there and fulfill and do the things that I need to do.
I respect that.
Yes. Amazing. Congratulations. So let's talk about the emotional connection aspect of things. There's a couple comments. One of them was directed towards how you're emotionally connected to someone, and they called it a red flag. But they did say, so does that mean he cannot or does not know how to get close? And then does he bail?
No, I don't bail. I'm not a bailer. Matter of fact, one of the things, like, my cousin tells me is that my problem is that I trust too easily. And I'm not one to walk out. Like, if I leave, no, you probably were horrible. Because I believe in working things. I believe in communicating. I believe in processing things. I believe in, you sit down, you see it for what it is, and then you come to a common ground and you move on. I mean, because we're in a life where, I mean, the Bible says that we're gonna face many afflictions, and the last place I want affliction to come from is my relationship with the person that I'm supposed to be doing life with. So, no, I'm not a bailer. I don't bail. I don't run out. I don't, no, I'm a communicator. I want to talk things out. I want to talk things through. I want to understand, and, so that way we can kind of get to a level of peace and understanding and move forward.
Okay. All right. So we've had a lot of things that we discussed in our time of knowing you both and just the development of who you both are individually. And it's been amazing to see. I know it hasn't been that long that we've known the both of you individually and, together, but it's been amazing to see how much you've just been able to grow in the way that God has called you to. I can only imagine how scary or just sitting in the unknown for the months that you both were sitting in the unknown for. And so, just like he was saying before, like, even though it didn't work out romantically, I'm sure there's a lot of things that you both are progressing in individually that God has worked out for your favor. And so, same thing you were just telling to the audience, like, it's okay. Like, there's so much more that everyone can pull from, even from your episode, your original date. And so, one of the main comments that I do want to address before we just move on to the ending is so many people just automatically just wanted you guys to get shipped off and married. How did you guys view those comments knowing you were on the other end, like, we are not together? Like, what was going through your mind?
When I read it, I was screenshotting them and sending to my sister, like, yo, people are crazy. It made me realize a couple of things, that within the Christian community, there's this overly obsession of marriage. And like Wenchell said, just because two people love God, don't mean that they need to love God in a marital covenant together, right? And that people love. And while I knew it came from a good place, but it's funny because these are the comments. Then that same weekend I was in North Carolina when I met the lady who was like, "Oh, it's so encouraging." One of the ladies that was on the praise and worship team brought me to the side because my friend had rented out 2 houses. I walked into their house and again, the episode is playing and she's like, "Girl, you got some explaining to do." Married woman brought me to the side and was like, "This ain't it." And I was like, oh, I was like, okay, her discernment is on point, right? But it made me realize that within the Christian culture, we fall for things too easily. That just because somebody loves God, there's this automatic veil. There's this, all the veil is gone, right? Like that person automatically trusts. That person is not praying. That person is not discerning. And it made me think that people don't even know my character and they don't know his character. So how do you know? I think it's okay to say, oh, this is cute. Let's see what's happening. But somebody was like, oh, I should get my dress ready. I can't wait to see this on the altar. And I'm just like, y'all, if you only knew what was happening on the other side. So it made me just really made me think, like, I think there's a greater, maybe it's not a conversation because I don't think the Christian community will get it, but there's a lot of surface things that people fall too easily for.
For sure.
I was like, if people was wilding out in these comments. You didn't see it, Winchell, but
Yeah.
it was a lot.
I
But
I never, like I said, I haven't gone back to it. Like, even after the show aired, I may have watched it like once or twice and maybe looked at a few comments. But after that, I have not gone back to look at it. I haven't processed it. I just haven't. I just did not want to put myself in a position of like just revisiting something that just didn't work out, because then I'm going to analyze, and then I become very critical of myself, and then I'm gonna sit and be like, dang, okay, dang, because even when I preach sermons, I do that, So like, if I preach a sermon, I'll watch it maybe one or two times. After that, I don't go back to it, and also too because I be wanting fresh word. I don't want to, give anybody any regurgitated or any reuse. So, so I have not seen no comments. I haven't read. People tell me, or I'll get someone will send me like a screenshot of a comment in my. I don't even look at it. I don't. That's just. I don't. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it is wise. Not every comment is a good one. And so that's why we constantly reiterate on our platform to, be respectful. These are real people. These are your real lives and stories and things that you're talking about behind the scenes. So yes, that is what happened, you all. There's endless amount of DMs and comments and hurry up. Let's get them an update. I want to see what's happening. Like, calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
Right.
But okay, so what's going on? Like, what's your individual projects looking like? Is there anything new? Are you dating anyone? Let's start with you, Joy.
I knew I shouldn't did unmute. Well, as I said, I'm rebranding everything, website, logo, done, almost done. Trademarking my brand, looking into contractual work associated with Speak with Joy LLC. So it's just a lot. Like I'm very excited on that.
Hold on.
Dating.
Slow it down and give us a shout out, to get your
Yes,
get your emotions.
yeah, let everybody know what you do. And
Oh, yeah. So many people don't realize this. So I am a director at a nonprofit organization in the city. I'm not going to say the organization's name, but if you put my name on LinkedIn, we can connect. I'm a director of employer and alumni engagement. So I work really closely with companies that we work with in the apprenticeship space. And then outside of that, I'm an author of 2 books. I am a strategy coach for women, starting at the age of 30 up. And then I am a speaker. So I have 2 speaking engagements with one of our higher ed institutions. It's considered our CUNY schools in New York in the fall. And then as of now, we'll be flying out to Houston to be a Dallas. No, it's Houston or Dallas to be a keynote speaker at an event next year. So, and this is even before me just like publishing, like just putting out there what I've been doing. My social media has just been me being outside. So I took down the flyer. So things are going to come back up. So I'm very excited on that. So if you are looking for a speaker, and then of course, my website would be launched again. Well, the new one would be relaunched. So that's what I do. And as far as like dating, as a single woman in New York, I know you just got to continue to sift them out. I don't like to talk too much, and whether I'm dating or not on social media platforms, yeah, I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna text you. And I just like the mystery of that, right? Like I think I'm very big, very private on where I'm at behind the scenes. So people won't ever find out if I'm with someone until they see an engagement ring. Gotta play it. I say that now, but if I really like somebody, I might be posting him in my stories. I'm not gonna lie.
in close friends.
It will probably be in close friends.
That is funny. Thank you for sharing. All her information will be in the description box for you guys to go check out. Go give her a follow. Check out her website. All the things. Wenchell, what are you up to? I know you just started a new business.
Yep. It's a consulting business. It's called We Care Consulting, and it's basically helping business owners to really just get to that next level. After working in franchising for so many years, I've seen a lot of people fail because they never got the tailor-made help that they needed. So the business is there to help people to really get the tailor-made and actionable plans that they need in order to get to that next level. That's that. I started back preaching again, um, and worship leading, and these are the things I kind of was straying away from, but it's who God called me to be. I think we're living in an era now where I think people need more of Jesus than anything. And, the Lord convicted me because I started to fall into this thing of comparison. And I wanted to be this guy who had all of these accolades behind him. And the Lord said, that's not what I called you to do. I called you to serve. And your, I don't want to call it disobedience, but the delay that you put into your calling is the delay in somebody else's life being affected. So that's really the main thing. It's really just been I've been working on playing the guitar more. I've been working on perfecting my singing, and then also too I became a high school football coach too to pour into some young kids' lives. Um, so it, literally everything is tailored towards serving and being a servant, a servant in the faith. And And dating aspect, I started. Um, so it's it's different, and it's something that, man, I didn't even know I needed, but God will always give you exactly what it is that you need if you are open to it. And I think I got to a place to where I said, Lord, whatever it is, like, I'm with it. I'm with it. Whatever it is you have for me, I'm with it. And the scripture that everybody confuses is, if you delight yourself in the Lord, he'll give you the desires of your heart, which is the most misinterpreted scripture, because it means that he changes your heart to want what he wants for you. He doesn't give you what you want. He changes your heart, and you start to see the things that he wants for you as things you want for yourself. And I think that that's where I'm at in my life, is that whatever it is that God wants for me and wherever he wants me to go is what I'll do and where I'll go. Right now, the ministry is working on a church plant in Japan.
Wow.
And let's just say, God, whatever you want, not my will, but your will be done. And it's one of those things. It's a very scary venture. And sitting with my pastor, and and I tell him, I said, like, this is a big responsibility, because one of the things is for me to be kind of like a campus pastor. Who's gonna be way in people country? Way over there. Hey, bruh. Hey, what Moses said? What Moses said? Find somebody else.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
So, but ultimately, I think right now I'm just in a season of really just wanting to please God and serve God, and serve His people and get people to Jesus. Because I mean, we can see that at the end of the day, nothing matters than your relationship with Christ. Nothing matters.
Absolutely.
So that's where I'm at.
We love it. Well, download Duolingo, man. Prepare yourself.
Start studying.
But no, that's awesome. Yeah, that makes our heart happy.
Mm-hmm. For the both of you.
Yeah, for the both of you guys, we definitely keep you guys in our prayers.
Mm-hmm.
Always want the best for you, and yeah, we thank you guys for wanting to try to be a part.
This was great.
Out on faith. We know it wasn't easy. So again, we thank you guys. Thank you to everyone that viewed, that had something to say, whether good or bad. You ran the views up. We appreciate it. But no, seriously though, everyone that supports us, thank you guys from the bottom of our heart. It means a lot to us.
Yeah.
And I'm sending your people Yahweh still. I'm like, hey, you love Jesus for real? Hey, you healed? All right, man, go holler at him. Go holler at him.
We appreciate that. This show is forever growing. We're building season 2 starting in October. And so, with this hiatus of a time, we really wanted to get back to the root of the show and why is it here.
Right.
Outside of it just being something where we desire to see marriages flourish from this, is we've seen so many people get delivered from what we see in the comments, from things that are shared from our contestants. So it's more than just what you receive, you both will receive, which is a partner. But, I know you guys don't feel this way, but if anyone was to come on the show and they feel like I didn't match with anybody, it was a waste of time, you sharing your story is freeing someone else. I thank you both for sharing and being transparent. And, it's a platform. Like, you were filmed and you were open enough to share things that, you went through. And so we appreciate that. And I know God is very pleased that how many people were in the comments that were just able to relate. So I want to put that out there. But yes, thank you both for taking time and joining us today and just sharing all that happened. It's unfortunate, but we love what you both are doing individually. So we're praying God's best. And yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Right Connection. We hope you enjoyed watching our participants' journey to find a meaningful connection.
Think you have what it takes to find the right connection? We're looking for singles ready to embark on their own journey to love.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. Share your favorite moments and insights in the comments below.
Don't miss out on future episodes. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Right Connection.